The Tales of Pooshie and Kitty, written by Mr. Push, narrated by Joy Hayward, music by Boris Chakurov. The beginning. Pooshie was a little pink hedgehog who had never, ever done anybody any harm. The most interesting thing about him was that his spines didn't prick. Yes, he was such a good creature that his sharpened hair didn't prick. Of course, his brothers and sisters, and most of all his two cousins, Billy and Russell, constantly made fun of him. They called him a walking clothes brush and laughed their heads off. Pooshie laughed with them and didn't understand at all that they were trying to tease him. The little hedgehog didn't know at all what it meant to tease someone. His best friend Kitty, a squirrel, often tried to explain to him what teasing meant, but she never managed.
Look here, Pooshie. If somebody strokes my tail, it feels nice. But if somebody pulls my tail, that's teasing. Do you understand? The little hedgehog looked at her wide-eyed and smiled. He answered,
"Why, Kitty, don't you understand that nobody can tease me? Because I don't even have a tail."
Kitty, who had almost given up, tried to explain again.
Look, Pooshie, try to imagine, for example, that you have to drink cold milk. Even though you like it hot, it would bother you.
Pooshie replied in an almost sing-song manner.
"Well, no, because I like both cold and hot milk."
Now, Kitty the squirrel felt she was definitely being teased, and that bothered her. She stamped her little feet, and just before plunging back into the argument, she looked at him. Pooshie looked so innocent, smiling and calm, that her feeling of being teased burst like a big soap bubble.
You know, you're right. And now I find myself wondering, why don't I ask you to teach me to stop being bothered too? So, what do you say, Pooshie?
Kitty was really very easily bothered, especially by hard acorns. And really quite a lot of hard acorns fell on her sometimes. They were so hard that she thought that stones, not acorns, grew on oak trees. And the screech owl bothered her when she was teaching her little ones how to sing. Ugh, it was such a cacophony that she even stuffed her ears with moss, and it still didn't work. Pooshie stared at her in wonder and replied,
"Kitty, this is the easiest thing in the world. Look, I don't know what it is to be teased and bothered, but I'll show you how you can feel tickled all over, which will make you laugh a lot."
Kitty definitely liked the idea and immediately accepted the proposal. They were standing on the narrow forest path which wound among the trees, and none of the forest creatures knew neither where it started nor where it finished. However, along this little path, the almost invisible forest warriors, the ants, always pottered about. Most of the animals were bothered by this fact because they had to be careful where they stepped. They knew that if they stepped on them, things became pretty scary. These teeny-weeny soldiers had iron jaws. In seconds, the person who had made the mistake was totally covered with attacking ant warriors, and the forest resounded with the screams of the intruder. Yes, everybody knew that, and they were really very careful about where they stepped. But not Pooshie.
Kitty, stand next to me and do what I do, but extremely carefully.
The squirrel stood next to him, slightly frightened.
Now, Kitty, you and I will lie down on the path and we mustn't move at all.
And the ants?
Kitty cried, terrified.
Relax. Do what I do, and everything will be all right.
Kitty somehow believed him, and they lay down across the path. They closed their eyes. The army was getting nearer. They could almost hear it. Kitty was trembling, but Pooshie was smiling.
Just don't move,
the hedgehog whispered quietly. At that very moment, the ant army drew nearer to them. One by one, the ants began to clamber onto their small bodies. The ants didn't bother them at all, because the little creatures didn't bother the ants either. Yes, but Pooshie started giggling softly. Not for any specific reason, but the ants' feet really tickled in such a way that the pleasure was unique. Kitty had already relaxed enough, and, of course, she also started giggling. Tickling and giggling. Awesome! When the last ant had passed the squirrel and the hedgehog went on giggling.
Well, every irritating thing can make you laugh,
Kitty thought.
as long as you know, of course, who to ask and how to do it.
And she thanked Pooshie, caressing his little pinkish nose with her tail.